Hi, this is Michelle here. I'd just like to ask, what does a day in the life of a staff engineer look like? Um, what does the job entail? And maybe what organization tips or tricks do you have that kind of help keep you focused throughout the day?
Thanks, Michelle. So, what does a day in the life of this support engineer looks like? What does my job entail, and what organizational tips can I give you to keep you on track? So, if you were to ask me this question tomorrow, you might get a completely different answer. And the reason for that being is it just really depends on the organizational needs at that moment in time. Now, what I mean by that is, there could be some custom escalations, or you may need to hop on a call at very short notice, or, we've got a team member that just really needs some help on something that's really complex and difficult. So, yeah, I just go and where the biggest fire is essentially. And, that's what I enjoy doing. So, yeah, despite that, as much as possible, I do like to plan my days as much as possible knowing, completely that it could all get thrown out at a moment's notice. So, most days I do have a focus on blocking, not blocking, unblocking, a big focus on unblocking others. So you will see me floating around in Slack. And, as part of my day-to-day chores or tasks, I should say, is I like working on code or documents. I'm really passionate about doing that kind of stuff, and also helping the import and integrate team as my role as a support stable counterpart with request for help issues, and also helping them with any other queries that they may have. And I work on tickets just like everyone else as well. So not as many, but I do work on tickets as well. And finally, I always look forward to pairings and crush calls. So I always make time for those where I can. In terms of organizational tips, I definitely recommend making good use of lists. Now, for me, the Slack reminders is, the tool I use. I also use Google Tasks as well. But ultimately, this is going to be different for everyone. So, yeah, I just use that to track what needs to be done so I don't forget. And, you know, that's worked for me so far. So, yeah.
This might be predictable, but I'm going to focus on the organization tip question. So I have two things. The first, plan for the unexpected. So when I assemble my daily stand-up, I don't account for every minute of the day. I leave room for some awful, terrible, unexpected emergency thing to happen. And then if that thing does happen, cool, I'm not super behind because I thought I'd get X done today and I didn't. And if that thing doesn't happen, amazing. I can focus on stretch goals, things that I thought I'd get done tomorrow. Yep, I do have time to take care of those today. That also has the side effect of normalizing unexpected, disrupting things are going to happen. And it over time becomes slightly less stressful when they do happen. So that's the thing that I've been focusing a lot on, I would say, since promotions earlier this calendar year. The other fun organization tip. Okay. So I keep a small list of my own personal paper cuts. So it's a list of things about my workflow that I would like to optimize, things I would like to automate, things I would like to fix. And there are things that don't make sense to fix right now, but really get on my nerves. Paper cuts, we know what that means. Okay. So then every now and then, once every couple months, I'll block time to work through fixing those. And it's fun and it makes me more efficient and it feels good to get something done. So that's my fun organization tip.
I do a mixture of things most days, Michelle. Sometimes I'm recording videos of myself. I might be investigating a database migration bug that appears to have landed in a release. I've got 11 tickets in my queue right now, 8 of them from one customer. I'm helping out at least the same number of tickets, usually for database issues. I do 2 database pod / staff office hours each week. Sometimes those are busy, sometimes not so much at all. In terms of organizational tips, well, I think try and identify something you can meaningfully move forwards or ideally finish. And if something's big, embrace iteration. What part could you get finished that would be useful in its own right?
A day in the life of a staff support engineer. Probably also a little bit cliched to say, well, no, one day is like the other. And honestly, no, that's not even really true. But there is some variety. Like sometimes I will spend most of my day on a code contribution that I'm working on. Another day, I might spend most of my time reading through breaking change and deprecation discussions for my product groups to understand that, to judge impact, to give my own opinion in that discussion. Another day, I might be digging down into the curl source code because big customer has an upgrade issue and something doesn't work anymore, or stuff like that. Honestly, a lot of my days now is working with others in group pairings, one-on-one pairings. That I feel is often the most valuable use of my time to level people up, spread knowledge that I have available. And yeah, that is the things happening in the day to day. So in terms of organizational tips and how to keep track, I think a good way to abstract that, right? That's the things that I'm actually doing in the time that I focus on certain things. And around that is a lot of not necessarily communication, but information intake. You kind of do need to be on top of everything as a staff SE. At least my approach might not be true for everyone, honestly. If you're very focused on something, maybe that's not how you work as a staff SE. So for me, it is imperative, and that's where like my organizational tips to keep you on track comes in. I would say get good at email and Slack, and you conquer the universe. It doesn't probably even have to be those tools. That's just what really works well for me. Maybe GitLab To-Dos is your jam, but there is a lot of information here at GitLab, right? Remote and async kind of amplifies that, I feel. And I do know that quite a lot of people simply check out of that, and I'm not aware. I don't know. Maybe you're just reading the support week in review every week, and yeah, that's enough. That's the baseline. You're not doing anything wrong if you're doing that. But then you're not as on top as you could be. And so there is, I think you just have to get used to that information triage, I guess. I get so much email every day, and most of it I can delete after a second. I just skim it. Not actionable. If maybe there is an information nugget in there that's relevant to me, then it gets stored. And then moving on. And then the few emails that are actionable, I just leave in my inbox. And then maybe the next day, maybe at the end of my day, I act on them. And so a day in my life is frantically trying to get through more email and saved later items than I add new ones that day.